6 p.m., August 17th, 2021. I call to order this Oconee County Council meeting. As a reminder, the public has 2 times they can speak in council meeting. First is public comments, and the second is public hearing, if there's one scheduled. Other than those 2 times, the public should remain silent during the council meeting. Anyone making a disturbance during the meeting will be asked to leave council chambers for the remainder of the meeting. Also, as a reminder, please ensure that you follow the county's legal prohibition against engaging in partisan political activity, including speech during this meeting. This meeting is not called for that activity, and such activity is prohibited by law. Mr. Root.
Yes, sir. If I may, just wanted to underscore why we have the wand out there today, and well, I'm glad y'all are here, first of all. But obviously the open carry with training went into effect. A lot of folks seem to be a little bit confused about when you can carry, maybe not here, when you can carry openly, when you can carry concealed. So just to ameliorate or get rid of some of that confusion, make sure we're all good here, because you cannot bring a weapon into a public owned facility. Oconee County law, state law also. We're just wanding for that purpose. Thanks.
Thank you. Moment of silence, please. Mr. Root?
Yes, sir. Pray with me if you'd like to. Well, Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for getting us through the storm. Pray for those who are affected negatively by the storm, that you would comfort them and help them to restore. Thank you for this day, this opportunity to come together, for all of the public who came out. I'm really appreciative of that participation and the freedom that we have to come together, to deliberate, to get input from one another, to help council to do their job, to serve this community. Pray that you had created in us truly appreciative hearts for all the little gifts and the big gifts that you give to us, and remind us to love our neighbor, to be kind, and let that govern this meeting. In your name I pray, amen.
Mr. Kane, will you lead us to the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there a motion to approve June 20th, 2021 regular minutes?
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Root?
I do not have any.
Ms. Brock?
Yes, sir, just a couple of matters of housekeeping on the agenda. Due for unforeseen circumstances that could not be avoided, the Perry Hill and Utica Mill Village Opportunity Zone presentation has been rescheduled until September 7th. That will be at the regularly scheduled council meeting again at 6 p.m. Same for the introduction of Ms. Burr. We did have some severe weather impact today, and I felt like Ms. Burr had a long enough day without having to endure this evening. Not that it was not an endurance. I just felt like with the impending weather that could come along, that she was fine to postpone until the September 7th date.
Public comment session. You have 4 minutes per person. When there's 1 minute remaining, I'll hold up a yellow sign. When your time's up, I'll hold up a red sign. Mr. Tony Adams.
I want to speak to council tonight about the disbursement of the Chinese virus relief funds that this county has received thus far. I spoke to council a few months ago when this subject first came up, specifically to Mr. Elliott's recommendation at that time that a portion of this first $7 million plus be used to help Salem build out their water system that had been planned and in process for years. $2 million is in process of being approved for this project because Salem already had their cost numbers for this project. Mr. Elliott's second recommendation was to use some of this money to expand Sewer South Phase 2 from exit 2 I-85 to exit 4. The approval of this disbursement depends on getting cost information from the sewer authority. It appears that none of this information has been provided to council. If I'm wrong, I hope someone will correct me during council member comments. It even appears that the physical beginning and completion of Sewer South Phase 2 may be in peril, and if this is the case, an extension of Phase 2 would be completely off the table. But this actually appears to be the goal of the Sewer Authority. Executive Director of the Sewer Authority actually discussed pulling the plug on Sewer South at the May meeting of that Board of Commissioners. One of the approaching deadlines looming for the Sewer Authority is a November deadline on a $900,000 plus South Carolina Rural Infrastructure Authority grant that was received back in November 2018. Now I see that Seneca is requesting $3 million of the Chinese buyer's money to work on sewer infrastructure in the Seneca Basin inside and outside town limits. It really appears that Seneca has been a proxy for the Sewer Authority for a good portion of this $3 million request. This brings me to what I see as another issue with the disbursement of the Chinese buyer's funds, which is double dipping, possibly triple and quadruple dipping. It appears the county is doling this money out in large chunks, and each of the entities that are queued up to receive some of this county money are also queued up to receive substantial amounts of the state pot of the Chinese buyer's money, including the Sewer Authority. Has this fact been taken into consideration in the council decision-making on the disbursement of this money? Maybe one of you can answer this during council member comments. There's an old truism that a politician has never seen a crisis they did not like. It appears this truism may be holding true in Oconee County. Thank you.
Mr. Rick Locke.
Good evening. Thanks for having this opportunity to speak. I have two quick points on rumors I've heard. There have been buses of illegal immigrants deposited here in Oconee in the middle of the night under the cover of darkness. And in case these rumors are true, what is Oconee's plan, or do they have a plan to prevent the federal government from relocating illegal immigrants into our area? My concern is that there has been no vetting of the illegals. There has been widespread acknowledgement that very bad actors infiltrate among those who are trying to make a better life for themselves, although they are doing it illegally. And also the tax burden and use of taxpayer resources involved with supporting such illegals. And finally, I sincerely hope that another mask mandate is not in our future. It didn't work last time. There is no scientific evidence that it does work on any of this virus. And finally, we should never live our lives in fear, and I won't.
Can you please state your name for the record?
For the record, it's Richard Bach, B-O-C-K.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Harry Smith.
Hey guys, I'm Perry Smith. What I'd like to talk with all of you about is what I would consider as the infrastructure of the county. That would be the employees and the workers of this county is the infrastructure. I feel that some folks are underpaid in this county. Some of the folks that does some of the nastiest work in the county, which is driving your trash trucks, working at these centers, I think they're underpaid. I think if you're paying somebody that's going to drive, that has a CDL, it's going to drive a trash truck, $12 an hour or $12.60 an hour, I think that is just absurd. If that's what you're going to start them out at, you're not ever going to get any good people in this county to work. And when you lose the infrastructure of the county, we just like Westminster. Y'all know how Westminster is with their electricity and their water. So I think, and I know Ms. Broad really tries to help the employees. I've heard that. Thank you. I think And Julian, you said that you take your job serious the last meeting. So if you take your job serious, which all of you feel like you, I hope you do, you'll do something for these people. The only way you're gonna get workers, and I see it in my industry, and it's, you don't get good workers if you don't pay them. And the infrastructure of this county is your workers. Mr. Elliott, you have yet to apologize to the citizens of this county for calling them a mob. You have yet to do that. You called them a mob. You called us, you called me a mob. It was printed in the Journal, and you have yet to apologize to the people of this county. I'd love to know why you will not apologize for calling your constituents, people in your own subdivision, Kiwi, if that's where you live, a mob. This county deserves an apology from you. You're the chairman of this place, of this board. You should apologize. Mr. Durham, I stand behind you 100%. I know that you are a loving and caring father. You have shown that every time I've ever seen you with your family. I don't believe a damn word of what I've heard. And I want to tell you that I stand behind you and that I appreciate what you are trying to do for this entire county. It is not in vain. You keep working and you keep your head high. We appreciate you because you're the only one. And Glenn, you guys got to start sometime working for you guys.
Mr. Mickey Haney.
Good afternoon, or good evening, actually. First thing, I would to offer apology. When I was going over the budget, and I spoke on the budget several times, I brought up a discrepancy on page 5 of 101. The number I had entered in was incorrect. I found it when I was going over the financial transparency document of the new uploaded budget. So please accept apology. It was not intentional, but all the other items I brought up were correct. I went back and verified those. The other thing is, I noticed that on the financial transparency page, we have added the assets with the departments. It's 15 pages, but we left out the rock quarry. I know the rock quarry is an enterprise, but those are county assets.
We're going to upload those.
Okay.
It was simply an oversight.
And the good thing about this is helping us work towards a ERP system. Now, if we can get operational cost and repairs under those assets, that would be a great building block for understanding the budget. It may not be anything we can do this year, but in moving forward into the ERP system, it will give us an idea of the repair cost to budget for. Last, of course, my favorite thing is the airport. I gave Mr. Kane some paperwork. Maybe you can share it with the rest of the members. I would like to petition y'all for an extra 4 minutes, being as this is, I think I'm last on the list. Can anybody make that motion?
I'll make a motion to give him extra 4 minutes.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? I'll start a discussion. Mr. Haney, you and I had a conversation.
Correct?
If we extended it 4 minutes for everybody, it would be 10 o'clock at night before we did the business. So for that, I'm gonna vote no, sir.
Okay. Can I make a rebuttal, being as you addressed me?
Mr. Chairman, before you was on here, we had Tim Mays to come up and talk about the recreation history of Fair Oak. And we extended his probably 8 minutes because he was going through the history and didn't have enough time. So it's not something that is strange or new. We have done it in the past.
I'll vote for it. Let's move on instead of talking for 4 minutes.
Am I good to go?
You need to call
Call
a
a
vote.
vote.
You need to call a vote. All in favor, aye.
Thank you. So, on the surface, looking back at the airport, when I was going through the budget, we noticed it's been 1 decade or greater since the hangar rates were increased. We also noticed it was 1 decade or greater since the usage fees was increased. We've done a little bit of modification this past budget, but nothing spectacular. But I was looking at the assessment ratio for property tax. And under aircraft, back in 2011, an ordinance was passed, that's 2011-01, line 14, or item 14, it's page 7 on that ordinance, to where we reduced the property tax from 6% on aircraft down to 4%. This is a slap in the face to everybody else in the county. At the time, we was raising taxes on all other properties. The only other properties that are at 4% in the county is your primary residence and privately owned agricultural land. Your boats, motorhomes, other recreational vehicles are 6 to 10.5%. Your business property, your heavy-duty trucks, 10.5%. To me, this looks like some more shenanigans. I know y'all had nothing to do with this, and I'm sure this is just an oversight for y'all, but y'all are the ones that have to set it right. It is not fair to the rest of the county to have somebody or some group in the previous county's pocket to allow them to have this type of deduction in taxes. A business owner, entrepreneur, one of the biggest things they try doing is reducing tax burdens and fees. That's a huge amount of money coming in if you can reduce those two things in your business. This is unfair to the county, and I look forward to y'all setting it right. Thank you.
Karen Powell.
I'd like to pass on mine, and Mickey, you need 4 more minutes, because mine doesn't really pertain as much as I thought it would. I can give you my 4 minutes.
That's all I had. Thank you, though.
Okay, council member comments.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Adams, he's talking about the China virus funds. Sewer South cost estimates, Ms. Brock, we have a timetable.
We should have some cost estimates in by the first quarter of 2022 for a full engineered expansion to exit 4.
Okay. And then Salem and Westminster, both of those service a lot of customers out in the county, outside city limits. We can have that discussion as far as Seneca goes when that comes up on the agenda item. Mr. Bach, rumor immigrants on buses. I've heard that same rumor too, but I don't have any factual evidence to confirm or deny that. And no mask, yeah, give people medical freedom. Let them make a choice on what they want to do. I've had this discussion many times. As you said, it's faith over fear. And Mr. Smith, yeah, I mean, we're talking about hiring CDL drivers for $12 an hour. It's a tight labor market. Hobby Lobby's hiring for $17 an hour. I mean, if you're going to get employees, you're going to have to pay them. And as more and more employees retire, you're going to have to replace them with newer workers. So, yeah, we're facing an employee crisis in the county in the coming years. And Mr. Haney, I appreciate all you do in digging in the budget and asking difficult questions and holding the county accountable. That's all. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Yes, sir. Mr. Adams, I agree with most of what you said. 3 years ago this month, the city of Seneca got $3 million sewer rebate for I&I. Now they want $800,000 for I&I from the Oconee County taxpayers' money. I think that our $800,000 is earmarked to be spent on sewer lines and water lines. This is gonna free up $800,000 of Seneca's money that they can use for jazz on the alley, tear down buildings, make Seneca look more like a German World War II town. Thank you.
Any other councilman comments? If not, we'll move on. Public hearing for the following ordinance. Ordinance 2021-14. An ordinance to appropriate and authorize the expenditure of a portion of local Cronus fiscal recovery funding that has been allocated to Oconee County under the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, ARPA, as follows. 1, appropriating $2 million of county ARPA funding for purposes of necessary water infrastructure improvements for the town of Salem Water Infrastructure Project. 2, authorizing the expenditure subject to certain terms and conditions is up to $2 million of such appropriated funds for the Salem Water Infrastructure Project. And 3, other matters directly related thereto. No one has signed up for public hearing. I close the public hearing on ordinance 2021-14. Ordinance 2021-15. An ordinance to appropriate and authorize the expenditure of a portion of local coronavirus fiscal recovery funding that has been allocated to Oconee County under the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, ARPA, as follows. Appropriate $1,300,000 of county ARPA funding for purposes of necessary water infrastructure improvements for the city of Westminster Water Infrastructure Project. 2, authorizing the expenditure subject to certain terms and conditions of up to $1,300,000 of such appropriated funds for the Westminster Water Infrastructure Project. And 3, other matters related thereto. No one has signed up for public hearing. Ordinance 2021-15. I close public hearing ordinance 2021-15. Third reading of ordinance 2021-14. An ordinance to appropriate and authorize the expenditure of a portion of local fiscal recovery funding that has been allocated to Oconee County under the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, ARPA, as follows. 1, appropriating $2 million of county ARPA funding for the purposes of necessary water infrastructure for the town of Salem Water Infrastructure Project. 2, authorizing the expenditure subject to certain terms and conditions of up to $2 million of such appropriated funds for the Salem Water Infrastructure Project. And 3, other matters directly related thereto. Is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Ordinance 2021-15. An ordinance to appropriate and authorize the expenditure of a portion of local corona fiscal recovery funding that has been allocated to Oconee County under the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, ARPA, as follows. Appropriate $1,300,000 of county ARPA funding for purposes of necessary water infrastructure improvements for the city of Westminster Water Infrastructure Project. 2, authorizing expenditure subject to certain terms and conditions of up to $1,300,000 of such appropriated funds for the Westminster Water Infrastructure Project. And 3, other matters directly related thereto. Is there a motion to approve?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay. Second reading of the following ordinance. Ordinance 2021-16, an ordinance authorizing the conveyance of easement rights to the Oconee Joint Regional Sewer Authority for the purpose of sewer infrastructure construction and the maintenance at the Golden Quarter Commerce Park and other matters related thereto. Is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. First reading of the following ordinance. 2021-17, ordinance authorizing the execution and delivery of an amended fee agreement between Oconee County 3-0 U.S. Services, Inc., and amending the amended fee agreement dated as of October 1st, 2019, and other matters related thereto. Is there a motion to approve?
Make motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
First reading of ordinance 2021-18, an ordinance to rezone parcel 192-00-04-028 from the Conservation District to the Lake Residential District pursuant to Oconee County Code of Ordinances, Chapter 38, Article 8. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
There's no first and final readings. Discussion regarding action items. Procurement 21-01, South Cove Park RV Dump Station, Parks, Recreation, Tourism, South Cove Project, $189,460, 10% contingency, $18,946. Total award, $208,406. Funding from the local accommodations tax. It is staff's recommendation that council, 1, approve the award of ITB 21-01 to Greenstone Construction LLC of Seneca, South Carolina, in the amount of $189,460 plus a contingency amount of $18,946 for the total award of $208,406. And 2, authorize the county administrator to execute documents for this project and sign any change orders within the contingency amount. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Chair, oversight, my wife works for an affiliated company, and I need to step out.
Thank you, Mr.
Make a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I have a question. Notice we got 2 bids on this. Where was this advertised? I mean, was it advertised in Greenville or just whereabouts?
It's advertised in Skibo and the Seneca Journal and our website.
Thank you.
And just to note, Mr. Hart, it was a Seneca company that is slated to receive.
Yeah, I understand that. That's the reason, in the other company, I'd have gotten out where they was at, but there was quite a bit of difference in the bid, it seemed like.
Right.
Any other discussion? Not all in favor? Aye. Mr. Kane? Council consideration approval for funding allocation in the amount not to exceed $3 million to the city of Seneca for critical water and wastewater infrastructure improvements throughout the unincorporated and incorporated service area from the Corona State and Local Fiscal Recovery Fund. So this will take 3 readings and a public hearing. Is that correct?
This one will be similar to how we did, if I could, Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry. Similar how we did Salem. So you'll have the initial deliberation, then you instructed me to draft the ordinance to authorize the appropriation and the expenditure. So this is that initial meeting. We'll then have 3 readings on the ordinance. And, assuming that you'll instruct me to draft it, then you'll have 3 readings on that ordinance after today's meeting.
Is there a motion to instruct the...
Mr. Chairman, the last time we did one of these, the administrator for the city of Westminster gave an elaborate detail. Are we going to get to see that from the city of Seneca about what they're planning to do?
May I please address that, Mr. Chairman? Mr. Hart, I think that's a valid question. The utilities director for the city of Seneca, which was in line with the town of Salem, typically a utilities director would come and request for the utilities. We were just lucky enough to have Mr. Bronson here in person to do it himself. The utilities director for the city of Seneca is out of town for this evening meeting. Mr. Scott McLean from the city of Seneca is here and could entertain questions, but I don't believe has a prepared presentation for this evening. The request, as you notice in the backup, is bulleted I won't be able to make that presentation on their behalf, but I will note that the first three of the requests, and this, can you pull it back up by any means at all? Mr. McLean, you better jump in up here.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Brunson actually came up there in second reading, sir. He was unavailable because they were having a council meeting on first reading.
We can request him to come to first reading.
So yes,
Well-
I would request that as well, Mr. Orr.
This, $3 million for the city of Seneca. And I was looking forward to this presentation about Utica and Perry Hill. Some of this money might need to go to those projects, since I figure that we got $3 million a person up here to spend, and why spend it all on the city of Seneca when you got Utica that could die for it, and Perry Hill, I'm sure they have infrastructure problems too.
Yes, sir. So, the first bullet on the request, can you pull it down just a little bit? Show that this is on the city of Seneca light and water letterhead, is for the construction of the gravity sewer line from Sheep Barn to the Cliff of Belize. Just as a notation, I don't know anything about the city's utilities, but I do know that this particular request is not inside the city limits. Those are not within the municipal boundaries of the city of Seneca. The water line along Highway 28, if you've been from the Seneca area, Bounty Land area toward Wahala on Highway 28, you have nonetheless, in some shape or form, ran over a steel plate over the last 18 months in the right-hand lane. I'm assuming that that is that water line replacement. Am I correct there?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. McLean? And for the rehabilitation of the sanitary sewer line along Seneca Creek, I think Mr. Adams can attest to this. I hear that he's been frequenting the OJRSA meetings, and we appreciate that because I have not. But the Seneca Creek pump station replacement has been on both the OJRSA and the city of Seneca's radar. And as you all know, that is not inside the city of Seneca either. Now, the miscellaneous replacements I can't speak to whatsoever. I can't speak on their utilities whatsoever. But I do know the location of the requested areas, and most of these are not inside the city of Seneca.
On that sewer line,
Yes, sir?
I stopped on the way out here and looked at the lake they've got down there now, because they got a track hole sunk in it. But are we paying for what's already been done too? Is that what they want?
To my knowledge, no, but I can't say with 100% certainty, no.
Well, I understand they've had quite a bit of problems going with their bore under there.
It does
And I'd
appear
hate to
that they
think that
have
the
some,
taxpayers
yes.
of Oconee County's got to have to pay for the mistake that they've made.
I understand that, sir.
So we can have him come first reading.
That's fine.
Is there a motion to direct the county attorney to,
Draft an
Draft one.
appropriation and expenditure ordinance.
yes,
So moved.
Second.
any discussion? All in favor? Board, let's see, no, council, committee reports, law enforcement, public safety, health, and welfare, Mr. Darnell.
So this is Law Enforcement, Public Health, Safety, Health, and Welfare Committee meeting dated July 20th, 2021. We had a discussion regarding an incentive program for nonprofit organizations to receive funding for picking up litter. Sheriff Crenshaw addressed the committee and gave a brief presentation including an overview of our Oconee program, eligible organizations, the application process, verification process, and the award of funds. The committee took no action. We also had a discussion regarding animal control ordinances. Also, Sheriff Crenshaw and Lieutenant Crumpton of the Oconee County Sheriff's Office addressed the commission and gave a brief overview of the proposed changes for animal control. Mr. Elliott made a motion, seconded by Mr. Davis, and approved 3-0 to direct the county attorney to work with the Oconee County Sheriff's Office to develop proposed changes to the animal control ordinance as discussed and bring back to full council for consideration. Solid waste update for fiscal year 2021 and discussion regarding information pertaining to brown goods. Mr. Swain Steele, Solid Waste Director, addressed the committee and gave a presentation for both items to include the following. Solid waste update, Seneca Class 2 vertical and horizontal expansion, Landfill has managed 84,500 tons of waste. Transfer station has managed 59,243 tons of waste. 10 equipment operation positions. Staffing levels have been at times critical due to unfilled positions, sickness, and vacancies. And brown goods. Brown goods include furniture, couches, chairs, wooden bed frames, and tables. Items not considered brown goods include mattresses, household trash, lumber, construction and demolition materials, personal lease, and land clearing debris. The committee took no action on either item. And the next law enforcement, public safety, and health and welfare committee meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, September 21st. Will be held immediately following the transportation committee meeting. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Board of Commission appointment, Building Codes Appeals Board, one at-large seat, no questionnaire on file for this seat. Council will go into executive session for the following purposes. 1, discussion regarding an economic development matter project, REMI. 2, discussion regarding economic development matter project, THREAD. 3, discussion regarding economic development matter project, Ruby Slipper. 4, discussion regarding economic development matter project, Streetcar. 5, receive legal advice and discuss contractual matter regarding potential acquisition of real property. 6, receive legal advice and discuss contractual matter related to acquisition of real property interest for infrastructure development. 7, receive legal advice and discuss potential litigation related to elevated use services. And 8, discuss personnel matter related to county council clerk. Is there a motion to go in executive session?
Make a motion.
All in favor? Aye. there a motion to go out of executive session?
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. No action was taken in executive session. Mr. Root.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, thank you. We need a few motions related to the executive session items. The first one is item number 6. This is the receipt of legal advice and discussion regarding a contractual matter related to the acquisition of real property interest for infrastructure development. Need a motion to direct the county administrator to negotiate and consummate the purchase of easement interest as discussed for an amount up to $100,000, including attorney fees for the various easement interests.
There a motion?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In relation to item number 7, this is the elevated youth services potential litigation matter. Need a motion to direct the county attorney to proceed as discussed.
Is there a motion?
Make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
And, number
Okay.
8.
So I'd like to personally thank Ms. Katie Smith for her 5 years of service on county council clerk. We all appreciate it, and I'm sure everybody wants to say something, but I want to stand and clap for you. Anybody else want to say anything?
I, again, appreciate all that you've done, through the interview process. You were one that impressed me right away and continue to impress during your years here, and look forward to your continued success in your career moving forward, and stay in touch.
Mr. Chair. Katie, thank you for your service. You have been nothing but totally professional, and I know it's not an easy job, but you have handled it with grace and with maturity and professionalism, and tell you what, I couldn't do it. So I appreciate all you've done for this county and wish you the best at your next position.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to echo everything they said, and I want your number so you can fix my iPad when I have problems.
Absolutely, Mr. Hart.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir. I appreciate you. Anytime I've needed something, you've been there for me. Actually, my iPad's acting up tonight, Mr. Hart. I heard the best compliment to your work here, and the fact in a job where you deal with people constantly, Ms. Brock-Terrace, there's been no complaints,
Ever,
ever.
ever.
That says
Surprising.
all that needs to be said.
I'm joking.
Okay? Root?
Yes, Mr. Chair, and if I could, just before we make the motion, Katie, you've been great to work with.
Thank you.
Obviously, y'all picked up Katie's leaving to a new position, and we wish her the best. You've been just splendid to work with. I know we've had a lot of things that we've had to go through, and I can't remember a day you haven't been kind and just a joy to work with. Thank you.
Thank you.
So the motion we need is to direct staff to post the job as discussed and to filter the resumes to council.
Is there a motion?
Make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Is there a motion to adjourn?